I was giving a demo yesterday of AdapTable, our AG Grid extension, and the user was showing me something incredibly complicated they were doing regarding kind of almost like a custom column. What he was doing is he was essentially exporting his data from AG Grid into Excel. In Excel, he then had an extra kind of his own personal column where he would mark whether something was being used or not. And then he was constantly having to kind of send the data back and forth to keep it all in sync. So I was pleased to be able to explain to him that if he used AdapTable, which I think he will, you're able to do this much more straightforwardly and kind of totally within AG Grid. And the way you would do it would be essentially to use a free text column that you can then filter and query on. So let me explain how you would do that in AdapTable. So let's imagine we wanted, for instance, to know which of these JavaScript frameworks we were using. So as I say, the first thing, there are actually a couple of ways you can do it in AdapTable, but a free text column is the best way because that is a column where the actual data is stored with your adaptable state and not with the actual main data store, whether that's come streaming from the cloud or reference data from a database, etc. So let's do what he wanted to do. So the first thing we will do is we will create a free text column and we will call it using, and we will give it a different name, and we will say here that it's a Boolean column because it's going to be true false, and you can give it a default value. So this would mean that every cell is true, but actually let's do the other. So by default it's false, and importantly we will make it filterable. There's a whole load of other properties you can set as well, but there we are. That's our column called using, and it's a Boolean column. It now is down here, and if we move it to the top here, we can see it here. So as I say, now what you're able to do is you're able to say, well, yes, I'm using React, I'm using Angular, I'm using Stimulus, I'm using Ember, for instance, and I'm using Backbone. And as I say, this data will be stored. It will be stored with your adaptable state, so anything else you create, which means next time you load up AdapTable, all those values that you've set will be stored. If you export, it will be part of the export and everything will stay in sync. And as I say, the user wanted this then to be filterable because he wanted only to be able to see which of his rows match this. And because we set the column to be filterable, that will then happen automatically. AdapTable will provide it with the Boolean filter. So if you want to see what's true, there we are, you can see them all. Or in fact, if we clear this, you can in fact use this in a query as well. So for instance, why don't we use the tool panel for a change? So if I wanted to write a query about everything in my grid, I can do that here. So I can say where using is equal to true. You can see now it allows me to run it because it's a legitimate query. And if I run this, I get the same result. So there we are. We've created a free text column called using, and we've been able to add our own true false for each row according to our requirements, which will get saved. And we've then been able to either run a query as we've done here, or to run a filter as we've done here. As always, thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about AdapTable, please get in touch, or you can book a one-to-one demo, or indeed you can request a free, no obligation trial license so you can try out AdapTable for yourself. Thank you for watching.